Hello and welcome. This is your GM in the Great Barrier, broadcasting from the center of your entertainment galaxy. We are back with Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword, our 23rd century campaign following a Klingon led crew during the fractious years of the Empire, in the years before Discovery, TOS, and all the like in that era. Of course, tonight we aren't seeing any of our Klingon crew so far as we know. It's all Trill. We were in our ninth episode, The Life and Death of Traven Lex. When last we left off there, Traven Lex, a Trill man who had found his way into the crew of the Yan. He had some time ago been subject to a grievous injury aboard an old, seemingly haunted Klingon freighter, specifically by the mutated clone of his shipmate and engineer, Raldar. The next thing he perceived after whatever stretch of time was finding himself on the barge of the dead, which ferries the souls of the dishonored down to Gre'thor, a horrendous Klingon afterlife. The Trill man found that he was not alone in his venture. He was joined, as you see, by 7 other Trill. He recognized all of them as, in fact, the different symbiotes of the previous lives of the Lex symbiote, or rather, his previous hosts. There was Felinar, the old wily diplomat. There was Tebow, the soldier of the last great Trill War. Yeldum, an older scientist, and one of the Lex symbiote's longer-lived hosts. There was Fremlex, a resistance leader and fighter against the last great repressive Trill state. There was Belinar, a test pilot in the era where Trill was starting to turn its view spaceward, and Romaldo, the one of basically the earliest explorers of space, basically the equivalent to a Jonathan Archer type. And then finally there was Lindell, the chef and mentor to Traven Lex, who was his immediate predecessor. The 8 Trill, Traven and his fellow Lex hosts, found that they had because of some unique circumstance, both with the other former hosts and with Traven in particular, they found that there might be a way to escape Gre'thor, or they could issue a challenge provided they faced off against avatars of cowardice, dishonor, and treachery. Traven had opted to face what he thought would be the most difficult challenge first, and thus engaged in a match with cowardice. The battle, such as it was, took very sort of halting steps to begin with, as they had to start by even trying to gain entry to the chamber first. And the avatar of cowardice at best posed an inconvenience to them. Hiding in the dark that was only eventually illuminated, the avatar of cowardice tried to dissuade them from proceeding further and told them that the only way they could hope to advance was by leaving one of their own behind in a sarcophagus whilst they go on to face the proper challenge. Traven debated who to send, but ultimately Tebow, the soldier, took the initiative, for in order to satisfy the conditions of the sarcophagus and open the door, he had to be someone who was essentially brave beyond any shadow of a doubt, who had faced great terrors as he had in the war and done his duty regardless, which definitely applied to Tebow. When Traven and the others transited the chamber, they discovered exactly the nature of that horror. In particular, it had taken them through a dark cave that steadily illuminated and revealed, much to Traven's horror, a version of the chamber where Traven had been subjected to his grievous injury, and along with it, a large, uh, seemingly even larger than in real life version um, of the mutated Gorn clone that had left him so grievously injured. Traven very nearly just completely fell apart to this, but it was only after a encounter with someone resembling Vopri, one of the ship's one of his former shipmates on the Yon, that he resolved to go and face it rather than accept Vopri's offer of living in this place in perpetuity and never having to face his fears. This made the kind of joint, clearly the specter, the avatar of cowardice, took sort of a hybrid form in terms of Vopri being the lure and the Raldar clone being the pulling, or rather the pushing force, the fearsome foe seemingly to overcome. Traven has managed to do so, engaging the creature, and even with a single hit, doing enough to seem to pass. It is therefore that Traven was able to exit back into the chamber with the others. You collectively feel a sort of rush as if wind just blows and picks it, like seems to lift you away, though your feet don't ever truly leave the ground. There's a rush as well of heat and of a very sulfur-like smell as you find yourself back in a familiar chamber, particularly the crossroads where you had met Molor just to start when you'd arrived in Gre'thor. So, the turn now goes back to you. All of you find yourself in place. Tebow, you no longer have the holes in you that had been blasted, whether by rifle, shrapnel, or other implement. Um, no longer in that battlefield on a trill that has long since passed, but definitely a little bit exerted from the effort. What would you guys wish to do right now?
Are you okay, Tabo?
Lindell says, "Oh, the shock must have gotten to him. I wouldn't have wanted to be in that sarcophagus, although for you, Traven, I would have."
That was a very weird experience.
This is
Indeed.
all this is all so weird.
No, I'm not. No, is Tabo here?
Yes. What? Is something wrong with my mic?
It was for a moment.
Let me reset my mic.
While he's doing that, Lindell does ask, I must ask, I must ask Traven. We are certainly at your side, and we are ready to face any challenge. That being said, are there any other large lizard men that we should be aware of?
Not that should be our enemy.
Oh,
Interesting phrasing.
There's another on our ship who is the same species as that one, but he is a doctor.
well, I hope that if he's with you, he's taking good care. At least if this whole thing isn't real, or this is all some sort of horrible nightmare.
I'm
But if this
thinking
is a nightmare, we're not the ones having it.
Yeah, the Traven Stare Fest.
Well, that was. Hopefully the rest isn't a scare fest.
Romaldo looks at you and says, "It does bear a point. That was the challenge of cowardice, so that would complete sense to say that anything probably won't be as fearsome, although given what we've seen of these Klingons, they still look like they could be somewhat direct. That's at least the read I think that we are getting together here. Is there anything else you could tell us of the culture here you think that might help us, Traven?
The next challenge we're going to do is one that's very sacred to them. Their whole culture is based around honor. Everything. If you bring dishonor, it's the worst thing you could do as a Klingon. The absolute worst. Dishonor brings you to hell.
Well, apparently
It's
that's
the
where we
furthest
are.
end. I'm thinking, since the last trial was of my fears, then the reason I'm here is what I'm going to face next. I don't know if it's going to be the same situation.
Romaldo's just going to think. I honestly don't know what to say. I think that I could use the wisdom of those that came before. Felinar, Tabo, Frem, any thoughts that any of you'd have to share?
Mm.
I don't know. This entire situation is intriguing and bizarre at the same time.
I mean, besides for Traven, we sort of have to play it kind of by ear.
And we've been down here for how long? And our host, and I gesture to the Klingon in charge, of course. And our host hasn't offered us any kind of refreshment. I'm quite parched over here.
You don't.
How could you be thirsty? We're memories and we live in hell.
I miss a really good ale.
You're not going to get that.
Exactly.
Belinar gives you a stern look. Felinar, I do not believe that this place will prove so hospitable, though if you require it, I'm sure we can arrange means to see to it that everyone is adequately hydrated. Are you in such a state where you need it now, or can you afford to wait some time?
What do you all think? Are y'all thirsty? A hydrated mind is a clear head, clear mind.
No, I'm quite all right.
I think I'm good.
Good.
Take it or leave it.
Eh, as you would know, Table, and you most assuredly, friend, our basic survival training may yet yield some options there, but I do not like our chances in this place. It is better, perhaps, if we are concerned about expending our strength, that we simply proceed as quickly as possible and move as efficiently as we can.
That would work. And then, considering the
Well,
time,
one would hope it would work, but none of these people have any kind of training. Well, none of. Only some of
Yeah.
us. Some of the us's have any kind of training or experience.
I don't want to take a wild guess and say that they expect us to drink whatever blood we find in here from whatever we beat.
We have to eat in the afterlife?
Well, I've heard about all these kinds of afterlives where they have like parties and stuff. So, mate, it's not as fun if you don't feel the need.
Well, I certainly don't feel the need. And actually, considering our current environment, I'm actually kind of pleased that I'm not worried about eating or drinking anything.
Perhaps the lively entertainment comes after all this, the fire and challenges.
I don't think that's what's supposed to be happening here. I don't think there's entertainment.
Well,
That guy up there looks fairly entertained.
That's because he's watching us flail about.
Bolor, for his part, has been very quiet, simply watching you with his glowing yellow-orange eyes. If he is impatient with you in any sense, then he has not betrayed that in the slightest. He, to the contrary, just seems firmly rooted to the ground before you.
are we ready?
We have to do your next challenge.
I'm going with dishonor. Does anybody have a problem with that? Or any issues with dishonor?
Well, dishonor itself. Oh, I apologize. You meant with your choice, not with dishonor itself.
Should be fine.
Well, we trust your judgment, dear boy. I think that while I can say it's a little difficult to call up everything from our previous lives. I think that, well, all the previous hosts, rather, we've conducted ourselves beyond reproach and willful, rather, as with as much integrity as we can, and we are behind you. That is the point, I think.
Literally and figuratively. And historically.
Let's get out of here. I walk up to the
Does someone
big
need to
scary
hide
man.
in the box again?
I hope not.
Oh, the box isn't that bad.
So you find yourself at the finding yourself at the starting point. We'll call it the if the entrance were south, although there is very little in the way of meaningful direction that you can discern from this point. Um, you are crossing over to the north end, essentially directly across from where you first came to this place. Um, and so that is going to put you at a tall door with roaring fires set about it. It appears to bear Traven the insignia of the Klingon Empire. However, it does so in an inverted fashion. That is to say, the point that you would usually see at the top appears to have been flipped. It also seems that it seems to have engraved in it radiating lines as if to suggest something like the symbology would make you think of something more like a sun or something of the sort. Uh, as the eight of you approach this door, you find that there is a single Klingon leaned up against the wall, perpetually sharpening a very long sword. One that appears to, it's hard to tell exactly what the temper is like from here, but doesn't appear to have any particular shine or glint to it. Some lack of polish. He appears mostly to be a man of some finery, in sort of a the fur. He wears a long fur jacket, kind of in the style of some of the Kling. Well, he has armor in the style of some of the Klingon raiders that you may have met before. That appears to have the sort of metallic kind of plating covering most of his midsection, and probably a fairly standard belt, although there is no diktak on its side. The noticeable bit of finery is essentially the fur jacket that he wears, which in its heyday might have been more of a whitish gray, or something close to a muted white, but has seen some degradation, it appears. Increasingly a very dull gray. Uh, Bits of it that you can see, particularly near his midsection, appear to be somewhat darkened. Uh, Stained, I would even dare say, to take on a bit more of a magenta hue. Or gray with a slight hint of magenta, basically. But this Klingon, who appears in the Hemhoch style, that is to say, the Klingons that, for those in the audience, anything from like the Next Generation on through Enterprise, those would have been that would have been the aesthetic that you were looking at here.
Is this the door to the next challenge?
And what do you care of it?
I wish to go through.
Seeking some sort of challenge.
I seek redemption.
Oh, you seek redemption. You are wasting your time. There is none here for you, Trill.
How do you know what I am?
I have been many places in my time. I have done much. But I am here, for none of it was of note.
I need to go through.
You seem quite insistent on that. Why should I let someone as worthless as Gre'thor deems me? Why should I let you through this door?
One, because I'm not supposed to be here. And two, it's not just me. It's these people around me. It's us. And by ratio, technically, I am worthy to go through that door.
So you're saying that you've drawn these people down with you? Oh, I cannot say I understand the means, but that must make you even more worthless than I thought. Oh, that is entertaining. Perhaps I could let you through this door, but not all of you.
How
Not
many
all of
then?
us.
Yeah. If you wish to truly cross this way, Trill, you must face a challenge, and you must do so without the dearest part of yourself. You must, in order to pass this gate, you must leave behind one uh, who has not only met great challenges of their time, but who sought them out. One who you think might be of such impeccable honor as to shine through and be a truly stalwart. Only their remnant, only their presence here can open the way to this challenge.
I turn
So
around and look at
someone
the
has to
group.
stay behind again?
Thankfully, what he described applies to all of you.
Well then, I suppose do we draw lots, or anyone want to volunteer?
The person who stays, says Frem, talking to that Klingon. Do they have to sit in a box?
He's going to move from his perch and dig his hands down into what appears to be the bare ground before you. You will note that, unlike the last room that had the somewhat ornate sarcophagus that was laid in such a manner, there's a mix here of kind of cobblestone and dirt on the ground. He manages to sink his hands between like a crack where there's a lot of dirt of cobblestone and just kind of lifts up, and this whole panel of the floor just comes undone. And to describe what is present there as a sarcophagus or something like that would not be accurate. It is more akin to a trench dug in the dirt for a shallow grave. They remain
Fine.
here encased.
Oh, so much fun. I'll stay. I'm not looking forward to it, but I'll stay.
Romaldo's about to give you a look as if to say, "Are you sure, Frem? That doesn't seem particularly pleasant for anyone, but..."
No, but I've been in situations that are nasty and uncomfortable and dangerous a good many times. You would not believe how many times I've had to hide in something about that size.
That does bear out with what I uh, heard of you as well, and what I knew before. Yes, certainly you would be plenty tough for this situation. I hope and presume you do not disagree here, Traven?
I feel like I need you, Frem.
Well, you would have had me a lot longer if you bothered to talk to us. But someone has to stay. I don't make these rules. And I'm pretty sure out of all of us, I'm the one who could stand being in that stupid box the best.
I think there's one other person that can stand it.
Well, it certainly wouldn't be you, dear boy. We can't have you going in the box. You're key to this challenge.
It's you.
You,
We're, we're chefs. We've handled stress for hours upon hours on end. We've sat in tiny boxes with full heat. We've thought nothing of it.
I don't think being locked in a cooler, a walk-in cooler, is the same thing.
I appreciate the endorsement, but I do think Frem is rather correct. I am not the best fit I would expect. And, while I would certainly rather have someone of her integrity by your side for this, I think that, well, I think Frem puts forward the most compelling argument, and for all this, dear boy, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
You sure you've got this, Frem?
No, but I'll find out.
Good man.
Sometime. Good luck.
Good times. Good luck.
Sometimes you never know if you can stand a situation until you put yourself in it. So, what I'm going to do.
All right. Well, with that,
Hopefully I'll see you all when you're done.
You will.
Here's hoping. Good luck.
Thank you.
okay. With that, the warrior that the Klingon that has blocked the way for the challenge to dishonor simply just gives like gestures with a swift move of his chin, like to for him to basically get in the pit.
Scrambles down in there.
Yep, and he'll just let the he'll let the panel just come back down on you barely before you've had the moment to lay down. So were it like a second sooner, it might have smacked you in the face or crushed you or something like that, but no. Uh, Frem Lex is hidden by what would appear to be just dirt and cobblestone, left in an unmarked grave, the nothing which would give way or portray a sense of her many accomplishments. So, uh, with that, the doorway will open ahead, and let's see. Sorry, everybody, just having one brief little tech issue here. Something appears to be slowing me down a moment. Let's see if I can get this to work here. All right, please work here. Please, just one moment. Hold on, going to try one small thing here just to see if that works. Okay. Sorry, everybody. This is just taking a weird moment. I think Roll20 is just playing it a little slow with me today. But I have faith of the heart, let us say. This will not obstruct us for too long. All right. I think that is that Nope, it is still not moving us. Oh, lovely.
Technical issues brought to you by Roll20.
And dear, oh dear. Yeah, that. Sometimes the streams just are just like that, but that's, you know, we do what we can, and we stall with a bit of just random conversation. Speaking of stalling with random conversation, chat, how are you folks doing this evening? Are you enjoying your week, your tonight's Star Trek adventure? What are you thinking? Any questions you want to pass along to the crew, or any thoughtful ways you want to spend those quatloos to influence the game? Uh, Seeing none of those, and crossing my fingers that this little refresh here works, uh, I will hope that we can proceed here. Okay. All right. So that's loading on my end now, which means I should be able to get all of you out into this next map. So um, the doorway opens, and you find yourself no sooner, like, you feel as if a sudden vent of, like, a blast of heat comes from behind you, almost as if like an explosion were setting you about your way. Um, all 7 of you that go through the door find yourselves out on what appear to be just an absolute primordial, like, hulk of a planet, or of a land that is just everything would seem to be aflame to you. There are great storms of, like, lightning and ash just raking down. The mountains seem to bubble up with gases and molten, like, hot magma starting to spew forth. Uh, the air is once again just jacks up the levels of sulfur, and, like, uh, smells of, like, death and burnt, or just everything that would assault your senses. Traven as a cook, this is very much the smell of, well, these sort of smells in a kitchen would obviously short out your olfactory senses for quite some time and put you not in a fit state to cook for a while. But this is just jacked up far above what you would be used to. And Belinar says, "You know, I do believe that this Dishonor person, I wonder if they were not the challenge of treachery, or perhaps if this Molor person was lying. This, frankly, seems much less survivable than where we previously were."
Yeah.
So humid.
The heat is very quickly accruing, and all of you are feeling it just absolutely sap you.
So humid.
We have to push forward.
But where is the question? We must find a place where, I suppose we should take a look around. Everybody give me an insight, and either, let's see, I'll just leave this for our player characters here. Command or well, let's see. Command or security would be the relevant discipline here, but it will be with the insight attribute.
May I use my survival focus?
Absolutely. I will say, Felinar, you are definitely wanting that drink now.
Yeah, sounds like it. I stepped away for a minute and I came back and it's like, whoa, what's going on? So this is fun.
Yep. All right, so that is one success from Traven. Tabo, Felinar, you guys may also roll insight and either command or security as a discipline. We are basically doing a little spot check here. Okay, that's two successes from Felinar and two from Tabo. So Tabo, your soldier's instincts kick in and start trying to find anything that would suggest a relatively safer position or some place that would allow you the relative survivability. That's obviously the first order of business here is survival. And as you are picking up, you actually pick up and notice that there are signs of trails on this godforsaken planet. Uh, and those trails, you're looking about. Um, hold on. So those trails that you spot, they actually appear to be, some of them seem to lead out onto the broader like fire plains that are out before you. But one of them appears to be leading further up this hill that you found yourself on, and that is when Felinar, who's also been looking around, happens to take note of something as well.
Huh?
I sent it to you in the Roll20, Joe.
I see it. Well, my, what big house is over there? And I point in that direction.
Sure enough, there is what might be described as a manor. To some, it may look more a fortress, but it appears to be some sort of grand building that is atop this hill on this otherwise like just desolate, horrifying planet. Um, Banners seem to wave high in the breeze, or what you could very generously call a breeze. It's more occasional blasts from the natural furnaces of this world. Um, they're not terribly well illuminated, though, so it is hard to get a precise look at them. Traven, the architecture based on your time at Galeden 2 very much signals to you this is a Klingon manor. Though nothing else of this world would be familiar to you.
Just for clarity's sake, when you say Klingon Manor, that's Manor,
Yes.
not Manner.
It is it is manor as in house, estate, or place of residence for general, I would presume, someone a tad more on the wealthy end. A great hall.
It's Klingon made. It's probably where we need to go.
They probably have something to drink in there.
Probably blood wine.
Is it good?
I'm gonna be honest. No.
Oh. Can you get drunk?
Absolutely.
Then it's good.
As I see it, we have very little other choice. The simple fact is, if we reside out here too long, then we will succumb to any number of awful conditions. And then I think need for something to drink will be the least of our worries.
Agreed. Let's go on ahead and get a move on.
And so, Traven, you lead the band of Trill up the roads. They're strewn with ash, and even through the shoes, boots, whatever footwear all of you are carrying, there is the intense feel of heat as you take every step. You would not be surprised if, with each footfall before you, if some part of the material were bound to rub or wear away a bit faster. Indeed, every step through the blasts of just extreme warmth is sapping away more and more of your strength, and well, you can only count yourself lucky that you are not out on the plains out there where you would surely be beset by flame or perhaps ground that might give way to the horrors of the magma and fire. This desolate world is easily the most hostile that you have yet encountered. That approaching the gates to this door, you find that Traven, they swing open for you, and that Klingons wearing a great deal of armored garb and bearing all manner of exotic bladed weaponry, seemingly they almost resemble batlets, but are more of them appear to be, there are a mix of some that have a more scythe-style look. There are some that would appear to be the traditional rounded blade, but have additional blades curving away. Some that are much like the normal batlets you would see, but are more extended out and have further blades kind of contorting around them. It is as if these are all great sort of expressions of different types of blades. You also see that the among the varying styles of batleth, you notice that all of the Klingons here appear to either be Hemhoch or Kukhawi, the Klingons who they're the Hemhoch. They would be the ones that are more like the 90s era of Trek, but the Kukhawi, those would be the Klingons that have whose aesthetic you've gathered has shown up a bit more recently. They are the results of a sort of first generation of treatment ailment, like the therapy behind to fight an ailment that altered the appearance of many Klingons, including some of your own crew, something that seems to have happened many years ago. But the Klingons at the gate say, "Who approaches the gates of our master?"
A challenger.
"There are no challenges here, only to deem whether you are worthy of our protection. We will bring you forward."
Thank you.
And you and the other 7 Trill are brought along the way.
Are you sure you have that count right?
The other 6 Trill are brought along the way. Lyndall Lyndall takes a bit of a breath and tries to move forward, but he's falling a little behind the group when one of them actually butts him up forward with the blunt end of one of their batlets. "Move it along." Oh, Lyndall obviously appears a bit pained as he clutches aside and tries to keep up with you a little more.
I move behind Wendell and I look at the guard. If you have a problem with his speed, then you can hit me.
"And if you if you strive to talk back any further, then we can simply turn you back out the gates. That we are letting you come through at all, when you speak so boldly, is a privilege. You best not upset it further."
Fair enough.
Proceeding further, you are taken into you're taken into the manor and guided through a series of vaulting rooms and corridors. With each step, finding yourself out of the direct ambient heat is a significant improvement. You feel you can breathe a little easier. The smells are not as harsh, although there is some sort of there's an interesting mix of smells ahead. Part of it you would suspect would be something more akin to the more fragrant flames that are coming off from great roaring fires and torches, such that you would almost suspect there would be like incense being burned or something to that effect. Something almost perfumed, if you had to take a guess. Uh, there are also wafting smells of like gloriously, well, I'll say more lightly cooked meat, as you understand Klingons tend to prefer it mostly raw, although just a few dishes call for the occasional more advanced preparation. Um, Within the chambers, there is also something of a wafting smell of blood, as if spilt many a time over. Something as perhaps these halls are not so unfamiliar to battle or something of the sort. At the very least, death. They're not so unfamiliar as you would expect. The guards at the gate all appear to be covered head to toe in the chamber appear to be covered from head to toe in various bits of armor. Indeed, the guards that have now joined you have placed helmets on their heads so as not to betray their status, whether they are Hemhuch or Kuchawi. That they enter through and they allow you into the main hall. So let me just transition this. Stepping into what can be described as the main throne room, you see that there are many guards arrayed throughout this chamber with banners flying and great lights, great torches, and embankments sort of set up to provide just the barest bit of illumination.
Sorry to
There,
interrupt, GM, but
yeah,
were you changing an image? Because all I still see is the
it's
volcanic
just
flame.
about to change over now.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
Quite all right. Um, there appears to be a great dais where the one of only two of the three Klingons in this chamber who are not forced to wear a helmet reside. Both are Kuchawi. Um, but at the top of this great dais, almost something a little pyramid-like, atop a great staircase, in regal armor and firm decoration, beset by a great sort of feline-like beast, stares at what you could only guess to be the lord of this chamber. And alright, now that time I meant to move things over, and it did not. Sorry, roll 20 issues again. Or rather, the camera just didn't move with us. That's what it is. Alright. So here we are. And he is large on this. He looms large on this map, larger than the token should really suggest, but there's as much a sense of outsized personality. Also, the GM will go ahead and move him down just a tiny bit. Only a tiny bit.
Zool! It's Zool!
No. Traven! Is that you? You worthless patak.
Huh?
The voice is oddly Tavox.
What?
Eh?
Do you
That's-
just...
Traven, you know this person?
That's my captain.
You wish. You think yourself so noble a creature as a Klingon. You are a fool. I should feed you to my cats. He reaches down and he pets the very gigantic thing that's right next to him and says, "Should I not, Cheshire? Do you think you should eat him? Take him off to your brothers and sisters? What are you doing in my house?"
I'm here to seek the challenge of dishonor.
Oh, such a fool. You think yourself worthy?
I'm here to make myself worthy.
That is impossible at this time. It is far too late for that. Your own idiocy brought you here. You thought to go for glory. Almost got the rest of us killed because of it.
So y'all are alive.
Did I say that?
Might have let that slip when you said almost.
Well, it's been quite some time.
Hmm.
Still hadn't decided what to do with you. Little corpsicle in a little tube.
I'm in a tube?
Well, you were. Last I saw.
Okay. This is odd. Either you're lying or you somehow have a connection to my Tabok's brain.
You call me to my face in my own house. A liar.
No. I'm just saying that those are the options. And seeing as how you are my captain, you're not lying.
At this moment, the other two Kuchawi, they jump in with words to their side. The one to their right says, "Oh, Chakwi! This worm speaks with such impudence, referring to him as your captain or your... Well, I would dare not use your lordship's name, but as if he has some claim to you." The Klingon to your left relative, Traven, says, "Yes, let us simply allow him the what little dignity might come with at least being a good meal for Cheshire and the like, or just send them to waste on the fire plains."
What say you, Traven?
I say your subordinates need to let you make up your own mind and know when to keep their mouths quiet, sir.
Challenging and obsequious at the same time, sir. Still so foolish. Can't even make up your own mind if you've got gall.
It's hard when I have so many of them.
You lack heart. You feel nothing.
Well,
What
he is
honor
dead.
do you think you could have? You're not even worth sending my warriors to kill. Should simply let Cheshire call her sisters and brothers. Devour the lot of you. You're not even worth getting my blade damp.
I was still let on the ship. Wasn't I?
I'm sorry, I have to ask you to repeat that. I didn't catch all that.
But I was let on the ship, wasn't I?
You were carried on the ship in a bag of food.
I've seen how you deal with pests. You didn't see me as one.
Even a fool has his uses.
Then I'm not so usefulness, am I?
Your use becomes less obvious the more foolish you become. The more foolish you act, the more dishonorable your behavior, seeking combat purely for glory without thinking of the consequences. Better warriors than you have ended up in Gre'thor for such foolishness. You thought nothing of your compatriots. You sought only glory. Glory in and of itself is not a bad thing. But it must be at the right time and for the right reason. Otherwise, it's vanity.
Let me seek it now. I
You cannot be serious.
messed up before, but I have a reason now. This isn't for me. This is for everyone that I carry.
Do you mean
Other-
everyone you carry?
I point to the others behind me. We are all one. If I die, my world loses a huge piece of history. And I did not think about that when I made my actions, but I want to change that now. I disagree with nothing you said. Everything
Why should
was
I
true.
care about your world? Are they Klingon?
It does not matter.
To me, it does.
Why
Unless they are Klingon, it matters not.
you don't accept us, but your afterlife does.
I didn't put you there.
Fate did.
Fate. There is no such thing as fate. You make your fate, and you have made yours.
My fate's not done.
So you think.
I've already completed one challenge. I'm not backing down now.
So now you think you have something to fight for. Some reason to fight aside from your own misguided vanity. Is that what you think?
It's what I know. It's what I feel.
Ah, so you think you have heart. You think your heart tells you that you are worthy of combat, that you are worthy of escaping your, to use your word, fate. Is that what you think?
When I first got here, no. But after completing the challenges, doing what needs to be done, and pushing this far,
I heard you were cowed by the great green beast. That you sat and you shivered. Is that how you would face your foes? Lying and crying behind a rock.
not anymore.
Oh, you think now that your heart is on fire that you can do anything you please, do you? You think you are worthy of facing any of my warriors? I do not think you are.
Is that the challenge then?
No. Just as you're not worthy of my blade, you're not worthy of any of theirs. What do you think, my child, my baby? And he reaches down and scritches the gigantic cat's chin again. Do you hunger?
It opens its eyes that at first seem just absolutely empty, um, but then slits seem to emerge, and there is a great burning of just hunger and like absolute want, desire to consume. It opens its mouth, and from it a great roar comes out, and it begins to stalk down from its perch.
Go, my pet. Dispose of this Patak and his menagerie of useless aliens.
And with that, Traven, you are now finding yourselves in combat.
If anybody has the fight music from an original series, start it up.
I have it somewhere. I have it somewhere. There it is.
Just enough to not have to not have us copyright claimed. Very good. Yes. In any case, because it is taking its time stalking towards you, Traven, you and your party have the first, like you have initiative as would start normally. So, um, what do you wish to do?
Who all has weapons again?
Um, I think that between you, there are a number of people with like fragments of wood, blunted blades, and like just kind of like not so much. The best you might have would be bludgeons, although they are of like reduced quality, basically.
Oh dear, Frem went into the box with the broken batleth in hand. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I still got a stick. That's all you really need.
So, um, I'm willing to say that. Well, I'll tell you what. If people are willing to, oh dear, it would have to be either a combination of momentum and threat or all threat. You could spend the opportunity cost to allow that everybody had some sort of basic blunted weapon here.
Y'all be all right with that? How much would it cost again?
Um, I'm going to say that's an opportunity cost of 2.
Is everybody else cool with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Sounds good. See, I got 2 right on me right now.
All right. Yeah, I suppose I'll allow the one momentum and the one that Traven has if you guys just want to spend your momentum together in order to make sure everybody has a blunted weapon ready.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. If anybody doesn't have that statted out, then let me know here, and I will be sure to make an addition to that. Um, but yeah, in that case, let's see. Um, okay, good. Everybody's dropped the requisite momentum. All right, so all of you are equally armed, or at least comparably so. Who would like to try and act first?
Mm. I do not talent if I can make it harder to hit Traven if I get a good hit on that damn cat.
Okay. Let's see then. Would you like to try and charge in then?
Why not?
All
And
right.
if no one's opposed.
Absolutely.
Then that will be a daring plus security roll as you try to charge at this creature advancing on the lot of you.
It's like what, a meter and a half at the shoulder?
Yep.
Now I'll be fine. I won't be fine.
Yeah, that meter and a half, for those of you who need it in freedom units, is about 5 foot.
All right. So Tabo charges in, valiantly going for a swing. Um, at mere steps from the creature. Let's see how this goes here. Definite focus. Um, it turns and takes an excited note of its prey, and oh dear, that is 2 successes, which is going to be enough to succeed, but a complication there, which I will allow you to manifest as an advantage of a sort. I will not allow that complication to, like, overwhelm the. Or like I won't have it turn around the success there because like Cheshire is still going to succeed, but you will have options basically to not make this as bad as it would have been. Um, so Cheshire will spring into action and move in to basically pounce on you. It's basically kind of playing with Tabo in a sense, while still aiming to claw at you. So before I roll damage here, would any of you like to pitch an idea for the basically the advantage you get from my complication.
Oh no, certainly not. At this moment, I'm on the other side.
Yeah, yeah. That is Joe, Caligo, or Cheesy. Any of you three want to pitch an advantage here?
Lunges too enthusiastically and falls after hitting.
Okay, so maybe I get it.
I was imagining a tumble ball.
Oh. So what will happen is the this large creature that's this version of Tabak has referred to as Cheshire, but bears no resemblance to the familiar cat in the captain's chair, Traven. It pretty effortlessly pounces and, like, with a good press to the chest from its front paws, manages to knock Tabo over quite effortlessly. Its claws outstretch and rake across with that momentum, which will do. That should have two more d20s there. I don't think that the attacks automatically account for things with these NPC sheets. So, oh, I didn't mean to roll that again. I'm sorry. Let's see. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll just count those next two with the batch. So that would be there were 2 1s on that first roll, and then an additional. There were an additional 3 from that. So that altogether would be 5, which is enough to deal Tabo an injury. I will rule that because of, partly because I didn't declare it, but also factoring into the complication, the claws rake across Tabo's sides and up like the shoulders, tearing up bits of the shirt, and otherwise like just unpleasantly slicing through you, but they don't fully find their home trying to connect deeper into you as the Cheshire has pounced with a little too much momentum, too ready to play with their food, and thus rolls around off to the flank and out of anyone's reach, but also out of range where she is immediately able to attack any of you. So that is the first turn here. Tabo, you are at least able to get back up. Uh, it didn't knock you prone, but well, actually, you are injured at this point. So the question becomes, do you wish to, like, as a group, do you guys want to spend the momentum to ignore the injury, or alternatively, you could tap your value in order to do so? Um, the cost in momentum would be 2 points.
Might as well spend the value. Don't give in to death. Those bastards don't win today.
Very good. All right. So with that, Tabo is going to be able to get back up, but that is still 5 points of stress that you've taken.
It's fine.
So, let's see. Effortlessly, the big cat seems to contort around and angles itself on the group now. This time, glancing over to those on the other flank. And she seems to have her sights on you, Felinar. With another low grumble, she'll stalk and make ready to pounce and jump in. Please give me a daring plus security roll. This will be against two successes from. Oh wait, I think 2 successes. No. Oh, I see what happened. It did not roll for mine apparently. So let me try that again. All right. So you roll a That is 2 successes against their. That was not command and control. What? Why does it think it is doing that? That's strange. In any case, it does. I think. Let me just double check that real quick. Make sure that I've got this right. Well, that is still a 2 and a 4 there, so that is going to be enough for the 3 successes it scored, which means that it is just enough to beat you. Felinar, you, despite your more famed career as a diplomat, you are fairly seasoned with more, I suppose, honorable forms of combat, maybe the occasional barroom brawl. The history books tend to leave that bit out, but it isn't quite enough to defend you against the raking claws of this thing as it tries to go in for the attack. And it will roll again with its claws here, with a still only partially working. Let me try one more test roll just to see if this does something. Okay, I see how the sheet is working now. And yeah, yeah, I'll take the last 2 effects there. But now that I have the sheet working properly, it's going to roll properly. So that is actually going to this big cat is going to swipe at you, Felinar. Its claws cutting straight through your jacket and slicing into your flank, dealing 5 points of stress and leaving an injury there. So that.
Ow, kitty, ow.
Yeah, I'm going to ask: are you expending the necessary, either your determination or momentum, or threat for that matter, to allow yourself to stay standing?
I should, yeah. How much determination would it take?
Well, it's only 1 point of
Which one?
determination,
Or-
but for
We'll
the
do that.
threat or momentum would be a cost of 2. In order to spend your point of determination, you do need to pick a relevant value that you are tapping.
Let's see. The first host makes a mark. I guess I'm not the first host, though, am I?
No, you are the first.
Oh, there you go. That works.
Well, I'd
Or
say
Is it
new and
makes a mark or
exciting,
becomes a smear?
new and exciting ages of reason. I'm not a fighter.
well, I'll allow the making the mark value only in the argument of you having to set an example for everyone else.
Okay.
Um,
Determination has been clicked.
Yep. This is hardly a new and exciting age of reason here. This is quite to the contrary. You are dealing with a deadly creature. But yeah, turn order goes back to you guys now.
Randall time.
If you guys, those of you still on the player side, need to chat a little bit, I'm prepared to give some moments of conversation about strategy.
Do you want me to hit it? I can hit it.
We can hit
Yes.
it. We got
Does it-
sticks.
Let's position in a circle around it. Make it choose its prey constantly.
Well, it's current. I'm not knocked down, so I'm the closest to it. So, I will not move, and I will attack it with my. I think I have a mace in here. So
Do you want to move one of the other symbiotes, Traven, or move yourself into a position? So I can put Belinar, Lindel, Romaldo, or Yeldum into a different spot.
I'm gonna move closer into Felinar.
Okay. So you pull in along his flank, and are you letting Felinar strike next?
Yes.
Okay. So then, Felinar, that will be a daring and security roll. And you will be, I'll go ahead and roll for Cheshire, working on the defense here. Who's going to lance out once again with her claws, and she will take 2 successes on that roll.
So I gotta roll. What was it?
Daring plus security, since you are
Aha!
contesting in a melee.
It's not bladed combat, so I can't use that focus. It's negotiation. It's aggressive negotiation. That's a focus, right?
That will regrettably not apply.
Oh no! Oh no! Okay.
And that is a 0 with a 20 in there. So yeah, that's bad. It's not good. Let's resolve that complication first.
Yep. Narrative complication, please.
Oh,
Because you know how I like those.
the beast is simply going to cock its head as you try to swing in with the mace, but I think I'm going to rule that you swing and come up just a little bit short, thus leaving yourself fully exposed, and she pounces right back into action, once again, this time going to rake into your face, basically. If she'd aimed but a bit lower, then it might have gone for your throat, as it is. But that is still going to be, let's see. Oh dear. That is 4, 5, 6 points of damage. Oh, you are... Felenar, the blades the blades come loose from her paws and just slash across. How much stress do you have left?
5.
That is 6 points of stress right there.
Yep. I take it. I take 2 more injuries. That means I'm out. Right? 'Cause
Traven
I take 1 for the. I'm trying to figure this out for mechanically for our viewers. If you take 5 points of stress, you get 1 injury. Because I'm maxing out my stress, I'm also taking an injury, right?
that is correct.
So I have a total of 3 injuries, which means I am deceased.
Traven, as you step alongside Felenar and as he swings down, as the mace goes just short, the blades from her claw leap forward and slash across his face, blood spattering across your own, into your beard and across those exposed bits of flesh that you have. The ghastly image of the first host, Felenar, spinning around, a little confused and perhaps a little curious. And as a matter of fact, that moment that you see Felenar go down and your eyes meet for a moment, you realize that same look of puzzlement as the one that he had when, at some distant conference that had happened so many years ago, when he was trying his best to keep the peace between the republics and democracies of that world and the growing band of authoritarian despots and dictators. That it's the same look of confusion that came after a sting, the rarest of creatures, of a small insect not native to the clime he was trying to negotiate in, but one that proved all too fatal to the ambassador. He perished there, and before you now he perishes and falls to the ground.
Oh my god.
God damn it.
That wasn't even me. Can't blame me this time.
Well,
That was me.
All right. Felinar falls dead at your feet, Traven. God damn it. Oh. All right. And with that, oh dear, the turn now goes back to Cheshire. I'm just going to have her lick her paws for this turn, cleaning the blood of Felinar off of her paw, not bothering to give them or you any further respect.
And running through my head is the song from the Meow Mix commercials.
I like chicken. I like liver. Rivers of blood, please deliver. God damn, it's the metal version. Okay. Turn order goes back to you now, Traven. Any
I
particular...
step
Good?
I step kind of over Felinar.
To your part, or to that point, Romaldo and Bellinar will also rush to your side, trying to go for a flank. Bellinar will actually try to move Yeldon back. People, if you move quickly, you might be able to save him. We will keep you covered as best we can.
Got it.
Traven, when you say you are standing over Felinar, does that mean that you are like trying to stand just in front of or over him so that you are between the creature, or have you like are you standing by him so that you may look down upon him?
I'm standing in between the creature and him. I don't want that creature to touch him anymore.
Okay. Well, you have moved into a position. Romaldo is here. Bellinar is also here. Do you wish to attack yourself, or would you rather have one of the other two try to
I'm
take
going
out?
to issue a command. Romaldo, take a swing at it.
Romaldo is going to charge in and make a roll of his own. Let's see. Among his implements, he does have a blunted batleth, which he is just he won't use it quite as effectively as he's not quite as skilled with it, but he is going to make an attempt. Uh, would you care if he spends a point of momentum in order to do so?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
All right. So I'll give him a roll here. He has no focuses to really apply in this situation, but he will go for it nonetheless. That will be 3 successes. Cheshire will prepare in kind, shifting her attention back to the combat, and actually, no, she's going to keep licking her paws just in time for Romaldo to manage a swift hit with the batleth and swing it maybe a little more akin to a like large, like almost a large club or a blade. It's going to just kind of whack into like about where the forearm meets the rest of her body, and uh, she will like harshen her view and just throw out a fearsome look and answer back with another roar of her own. All right. And so that will That will deal 3 points of stress, but she is not going to take too kindly to it. She's going to charge in and try to engage Romaldo here again. So
And all of the Klingons that are in the room are tacitly, like, not even really paying attention. Like, this isn't even worth their time. Even the Tabak thing up on the dais is just sort of occasionally glancing down to see what's going on. Like, no one is even bothering to pay attention. None of this deserves their attention, their respect, or anything.
yep. Then I dare say one of your advisors has brought you a mug of blood wine, or perhaps a more fanciful goblet.
Probably a goblet, yes.
Yes. So, as you feast amid this display of which you pay little attention, let's see. Once again, Cheshire does make an attack. The successes are technically tied up there, so initiative goes to Cheshire on this. I should also say, before any of that, you guys did actually earn back 3 points of momentum from Romaldo's earlier success, so I'll go ahead and deal that to you, Traven. And but yeah, while you have that momentum there, she is going to roll in and do yet more damage with her claws, slashing at Romaldo, catching a bit of his leg, although not nearly as bad as some of the others. Nonetheless, that will deal him 3 points of stress. And the turn goes back to you guys now.
Belinar, you're up. Take another swing. Romaldo, if you can, pull back.
Romaldo will kind of head back your way a little bit, while Belinar will charge in. I think in her case, I'm trying to remember what she had. I think that she either had bits of wood, possibly a mace. I'll let her pick between that or the mechleth here. You guys spent the opportunity cost for it. Let's go the mace. She wants to try and knock it down, I think. So, charging in, trying to take a swing of her own, and I'll give her small arms proficiency here. Uh, okay, the battle goes a little back and forth, but as Cheshire attempts to prance around and go for another attack, Belinar is going to be able to like basically use a horizontal swing of the mace in order to knock into the approaching Cheshire, and thus be able to first grant you a momentum, which Traven, I will allow you to draw that at your leisure. But she will get a chance to roll a knockdown as well. Or at least roll dice, and because she has 2 effects there, that damage is actually going to be resisted, but it will knock Cheshire aside, forcing her to roll over and be temporarily prone.
Am I allowed to use momentum to reroll damage?
You may, yes.
Would
Do you
love
want her to
do
reroll those 4?
Yes, please.
Okay. So. Okay. That will actually deal a total of 5 points. So 3 of those will get through. The effects will still apply. So you deal 3 points of stress, and Cheshire is momentarily knocked prone. Therefore, she cannot attack. So, all of that said, are there other
The
potential?
goblet comes down from Tabok's mouth, and he's gripping the stem in his fist, in his left hand, as he's leaning heavily on the throne on his elbow, and now taking a much more keen interest in what's going on down there. That's all.
Wow.
All right. So let's see. I've been playing this a little fast and loose here, but I think that uh, let's see. I'm trying to remember. Traven, did you haven't acted yourself yet, have you?
No.
Okay. Well, how about this? Playing this a little more properly in terms of a combat encounter. Um, Technically, it should. First off, she should only actually have like one action. I realize, since everyone else should be allowed to go. Just as a balance or sort of unique rule to the challenge, I think I will set it as such to where Cheshire from here on out will have 2 turns basically that she has to act to reflect that she is such a threat to you guys. Um, and then otherwise, I will allow the players to act in. Well, basically, each of you will be able to act with your character. And Joe, I believe, how would you like to take over for one of the existing NPCs, just since Felinar is momentarily down and out?
Yeah, I can take over one.
Okay. If memory serves, Romaldo, I think, was a second pick for you. Would you want old
Yeah,
Captain Archer? Or Trill
Romaldo.
Captain Archer? Yeah.
Sure.
All right. I'll let you take over for him. So, uh, just to kind of affect this rule change and make things clear, I will also expend a couple points of threat on this matter so as to um, make the narrative change a little more simplified or explained. But yeah, Traven, that does mean that you have the opportunity to act still if you wish to do something in this encounter. And then I will say that the turn order has been reset.
Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong. I can use a command action, right, and make somebody else do something.
Uh, oh yeah, you did do that, didn't you already? Although you didn't roll for it, I think, because that would
Probably
usually be an assist. Yeah, technically you can do that as well.
It's still prone, right?
It is.
I'm going to use a command action. Tabo, hit it while it's down.
I see.
Okay, this will be daring plus security. Because it is prone, it actually, I don't think, would be in a position to respond, although because you've already acted once in this very loose round that we've set up, you've already taken a turn. I am going to say that you must perform this at a difficulty of 2.
Didn't a new round start?
Well, Traven hadn't acted yet, but since
Uh,
he is ordering here properly, or since we're treating it that way, I'm going to allow him to assist you with presence plus command in order to compensate for it. I will also point out there is ample momentum to draw from. You should technically be full right now. And I'll even, just to make up for it, I'll let Traven's two rolls there count for it. So you have basically, you need to roll 1 success in order to successfully mount your attack here. And you score 3 successes. So that is a total of 1. You beat these successes needed. You score, you have 3 excess momentum, which, because the pool is currently full, it is floating now. Do you? Well, I guess. Trying to remember here. Were you using a mace or a blade? What was
and
your preferred weapon?
a mace.
Okay, then you may roll damage with your mace first and foremost.
All right. Let's see. Oh, I just found what happens whenever it's prone. Well, whatever. Mace.
Okay, at present, that is 4 points of stress. It will resist 2 of those just right now, but before we evaluate that completely, you do have floating momentum you can expend.
Absolutely. I want to reroll. Let's reroll those 4.
Yeah, reroll.
Okay.
Reroll damage.
That will be 1 point of momentum. And then, Caligo, if you would just set 4 in the challenge dice there. There we go. So that'll now give you the total of 6 point. Well, let's see. That's 4 additional points there, plus the 10 that you had, or rather, plus the 4 that you had. That will be a total of 8. 2 of those get ignored, but that is still enough to. After resistance, it still is enough to cause an injury. So describe it like just as far as inflicting the injury goes here. Um, Tabo, describe your attack on the prone beast.
I imagine coming in from the side while the beast is focused on one of our other dear friends, and I bring my makeshift mace right down on the back of its skull, as hard as physically possible.
The beast yowls and flails angrily, as much from frustration perhaps as it does pain, but it is unable to find its mark on you, Traven, um, as it nonetheless takes an injury. Um, and I'm assessing just where that puts it. Um, because it has taken this injury, it does require me to spend some threat to keep it up.
Of course.
But it is going to be able to get back up from this. At least technically. Because I treated Traven as still like having an action on this first turn, so now I'm going to say that the turn order resets for everyone. And the initiative is still yours.
Well, we still had like 2 floating momentum, right?
Oh, yep.
Yes, there was 2 floating momentum, I should say. And were you going to say something there?
Yes, the stem of the goblet breaks in his fist as he clenches it, and the cup crashes to the ground and splatters blood white.
Oh.
I'll spend my threat to give him a new cup.
Excellent. One of his servants is along here with another goblet of blood wine filled to the brim.
And yeah, he takes it. It sloshes on his hands, and then he punches the servants and pushes them off camera.
Yep.
But I am going to use my talent, close protection, which costs 1 momentum to do. So any attack on Traven has an increased difficulty by 1.
Very good, very good. So you've now angled yourself in a protective manner. I'll say that that's sort of what closes out the turn after your own attack here. But yeah, you are arrayed around the beast. It is still technically prone, and you are capable of one final, you are capable of another action, either with yourself, Traven, or one of the other members of the party. How would you prefer to proceed?
I'm going to take a command action. Belinar, put it down.
Gladly, she says. And with her own mace, with this terrible bludgeon, she's going to swing at it. You may roll control plus command to assist. And well, she takes 3 successes. I am actually not sure whether the direct action allows you to roll both dice there, or I am momentarily blanking, but for our purposes, I will allow you those 2 dice, so that is a total of 3 successes on the roll. Or rather, 6 successes from the 2 of you. 5 more than what you needed. And she will just bring down this mace, trying to cave in its side, just bludgeoning away in anger. The first blow deals already a vicious sound as with, let's see, that is a total of 8 points of stress on the board there. 2 of those will get resisted, but that's still enough to do 6, and that is enough to max out the stress track. So she is just going to pummel away, as much perhaps from rage at what happened to Felinar as the diligent maneuver to keep her fellow hosts safe, and just beat away at that until blood begins to fleck up into her own face. Finally, she looks as though ready to drop the mace, but just backs off. Says, "'Tis done."
Tabak is deathly silent. The rage on his face is palpable. He's speaking through gritted teeth. Not as weak as I had supposed. Leave, your task is done. Get out of my house. Patak. Brave, brave Patak.
I lean over and I pick up Belinar's body and I try to carry it.
Or Felinar, rather.
Or Belinar, sorry.
We'll fix him up right outside.
I tell you to go to hell, but you're already there.
A whole lot of creative cursing in Klingon. You hear, Gucha is in there about 5 or 6 times in a row.
Oh.
And the rest of the Klingons in the room have just sort of quietly walked around the dais and disappeared, leaving the angry Tabak sitting there in his throne with his blood wine goblet, and the wine is just continually pouring out of the top. But it's thick. It's like not the blood wine. It just looks like blood just continuing to sort of fountain out of the top of the goblet.
And so you leave this version of Tabak to sputter and step from the manor back out into the fiery plains below, or the path that will lead out back to the fiery plains of this horrendous world. This place might have otherwise been a respite of comfort, but there's none that you can find here. Indeed, nothing in this hall seems truly for anyone of honorable repute to you, Traven. So I'll say that you have that moment to stop out at the threshold and glance back at the glance outside. Is there anything that you would say before you leave the manor, or anything else you would do?
I'm sorry, everyone.
Dear boy, we did our best. That's all we can ask.
I'm taking his body with us until the end.
Gonna
Go ahead.
give me a chance to help Felinar at all.
I will give you a chance. We'll say that this is like where the scene would close. Technically, you might have a moment to stabilize him and save him properly. In most cases, I think that this would mean like this would be the moment where everything sort of would come apart, or like technically the character would the particular character would usually die, but I think that under the circumstances, we can make an exception here and say that you have a moment to intervene.
I've seen worse. Let's do it.
Very good, very good. All right. Then let's see. So I think that this is going to be this would be a first aid task. This would be daring plus fitness, and that would be, I think, just rechecking my reference here on the ground tasks, but I'm pretty sure that is usually just a difficulty of 1. Yes, daring and medicine difficulty of 1. It will mean they are incapacitated, but they do not properly die at the end of the scene.
Properly die? Okay.
Yeah, they just remain incapacitated. But that in and of itself can be bypassed with momentum being spent.
All right. Daring plus medicine.
Got this.
All right. So, let's see here. Well, that is the 1 success that you need. So you immediately set about trying to stitch up the innumerable injuries that have set about Felinar's um, side and side and face. You immediately start tying over bandages in order to try and keep any more blood loss from coming out. Although it already seems as though there's quite a bit.
I just hear a lot of cloth tearing as everybody's ripping pieces off of their jackets and shirts and everything to try to bandage him up.
Yeah, and there was some of the excess cloth that had what is the word that I'm looking for? Okay, back when you were on the barge of the dead, there was some excess cloth which you had been able to extract from the ship. You'd broken up some of the boxes, and you had all been able to basically. Some of it was used as kindling or something to create a makeshift torch when you were approaching the layer of dishonor, or rather the layer of cowardice. The rest of it, however, was something that you had been able to uh, save in bits and bobs because it had already been useful once, and you figured it was necessary again.
Was any of it Tholian silk?
No, the Tholian silk has gone to a worthy place in Stovacor. It died in battle. It has earned its place to be properly
It's earned its
Sorry.
place in the textile afterlife.
Yes, to be displayed and properly treated. Uh, it's dry clean only for that, so it was. It is arrayed in a proper fashion. Apologies there too. I had a slight coughing fit. And as you resolve to not simply help Felinar to try and rescue him from this, but to prepare yourself to step back outside, Traven, hoping that you might depart this challenge, there is a bright light from outside. You think probably at first it is the clapping of, like, it is rather lightning that basically claps in the distance, or something that at first seemed like very far out, but then was much closer. The problem is, it was sustained, is the issue. And you realize you're not entirely seeing it through your own eyes. Um, Instead, this is rather something that is, uh, well, for one thing, you realize that it is the persistent light of a stage in a lecture hall as you are looking out to an otherwise darkened audience. You yourself have the spotlight, or rather, it is Frem who stands tall on the stage, but out amongst a great audience of Trill all sitting in anticipation. Uh, Frem, you actually find yourself in the midst of the moment with. You've momentarily lost your place in the speech. You don't know exactly how long you've been here or at what part you were at first, but you take a moment to recompose yourself and
Check my notes on the podium.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. As I was, and look at the one that's right there on the top. As I was saying, the foreign regime is. I hesitate to use the term evil, but it is bad. It needs to be dealt with. Taking the freedoms away from the foreignish people isn't just bad for the foreignish people. It's bad for all of us, for every Trill on the planet. Those of us who are part of the Alliance and those of us who aren't part of the Alliance. We are all being harmed by what the foreign regime is doing. I'm assuming at that point there's some sort of applause.
Yes, you with the continued thunderous emphasis you place on overwhelming those on the need for liberation against those that oppress the last part of the Trill population at this time under autocratic rule. The audience does roar out. They've been pretty largely in agreement. You've had them very much from the start, but there was like you have built them up to a point where they all gather. The attitude builds to such a point where they are all quite happy about it, and or they are willing to give you roarous applause or uproarious applause. Um, as it eventually dies down, and a moderator that was on the panel says, "Well, I'd like to thank you all. There will be brief time for pleasantries, but our distinguished guest does have a schedule to keep, so if you please, keep it minimal." He says so futilely as like audience members get up to the stage and various hands reach out. It's a song and dance you're familiar with before. Many people want to shake your hand.
I was shaking with both hands, as many as I can grab a hold of.
Yep.
The more people I can get on my side and support the cause, the better.
Yep. And you pick out many a phrase from there. So it's saying, "Oh, you are an inspiration, Fremlex. Your resistance against the Fornish regime is commendable." Says another says, "For freedom, there is no higher cause. We are with you, at least in spirit, even if we cannot be there on the field."
Your support is always welcome
Yep.
and needed.
Yep. Give me an insight and security roll, if you please. Difficulty 1.
Sorry, I got to get the friend kind of buried all the way down here at the bottom.
All
Insight
all
and
good.
security, you say?
Yep.
Uh,
And I believe you have an applicable focus.
I probably have at least one applicable focus. No.
Okay. It is perhaps this is probably the reason why this went this way, because it has been so routine and that the audiences were so receptive that it took you maybe a few moments longer to notice that amidst the smiling faces, amidst the warm beams, it was not until the wrong moment that you noticed one face that seemed just hardened in stone, completely blank, and that as it neared you, its brow furled, and that amidst the wave of hands rose a firearm. A loud crack, the smell of smoke, and the impact that caught your chest. The assailant tries to race in, readying the next shot, but well, first and foremost, even though they aimed for the kill, you have the moment to resist. Particularly, give me a value that might allow you to stay standing through this, if you please. I'm sure you have one.
Unfortunately, looking at the values on the character sheet, two of them are truncated.
Oh dear.
Like, I've got one that says one must be inf, and then the last one is hear the call, oh.
Oh dear. Well, apparently some of them didn't transfer over properly. I'm so sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll
So I
just
don't
finish
know
up.
what those other two are.
Yeah. I think one of them was vaguely one must be informed to in order to fight or something like that. But I'll give at least 3 of those values are now written out properly.
Okay.
So there you go. Pick from them. Here's what you have to pick from.
Yeah, well, the value, you want your story to have a good ending, then don't miss.
Um,
That
well,
seems fairly appropriate at this time.
yep. And this character did not quite. I'm going to say that for you to ignore the injury, they missed. So.
Or they missed something that would have killed me.
Yep. And they tried to take the shot from near point blank range. So what do you do next?
I kick their ankle backwards,
Oh.
which will make them overbalance and fall forward, probably land on me.
Mm-hmm. They do so in such a fashion, I'm prepared to grant that you're able to shift their weight, but you notice that as they are moving forward, another appears to be pulling another weapon of their own, trying to level aim on you.
Can I get the weapon out of the fallen individual's hands?
Absolutely.
Then I will grab that weapon and shoot the one who's trying to shoot me.
All right. I'm just going to give you that you are able to level that and make another shot. The audience has descended from the elation of after the speech to sudden shock and terror as this goes on. Your shot levels true, striking the man, when voices from around the auditorium, scattered as there but a handful, call out from around the room. Long live Sacred Thorn! As you see them raising something in their over their heads in a single hand and trying to frantically, it seems, perform some action with them. They wouldn't be firearms.
Do I recognize what they have in their hand?
Oh, you can take a good guess because they aren't. If they had guns, then they wouldn't be hanging over their heads like that, or they would have been angled down to start taking shots at
All
you.
right, then I start shouting to what crowd is left. Out, out, out! Everybody out! They've got bombs! Go, go, go! And I'm probably still laying prone with this idiot probably fighting at me. I'm going to try to take a shot at one of the bomb guys.
You take another shot, and you're less certain whether it aims true, but at least it looks as though it might have nicked them or glanced them well enough in order to bring them down. You try to level for the last one, shouting again and again to leave, for people to get out.
And I don't have time to even notice if they're following that instruction.
And all the noise around you probably levels away as you set intently on your task for your last remaining duty to people that you have to save. You are not cowed by their efforts, and you think nothing in this case of what waning moments you may have.
No,
And
at this point, my thoughts are only for those who aren't suited for fighting, to get them to safety. Save as many people as absolutely possible.
No.
Whether I make it or not is immaterial at this point.
No. And as sure as the eventual flames from the explosives greet you, as sure as those same fires and lightning strikes from the outside greet you, Traven, and those in the realm, you feel them wash over you, and you would almost feel touched by them, but they do not sap nearly as much. They do not take quite as much away from you as you'd expected. For your part, Frem, you rise through them, and in the process burst through the tiles of the floor that you were set under, rising from the dirt and cobblestone, bursting through. You find yourself without the firearm that you had, and also without the chest wound. But you see amongst you, the other Trill seem to have joined their place. Although one has I'll give it here that Felinar, for his part, appears to still be there. But he is sat down and leaned against a post to the side, himself somewhat bandaged up and much worse for wear.
Frem is just like pawing at her own chest for a second, expecting to find, the sucking chest wound, and is just like, okay, that was not a good memory. Oh, I think that was my last memory. Oh,
were you shot too?
Yeah, and then there were the bombs. I don't even remember if the other people got out or not.
Some did.
Oh.
Not everyone, but...
And then she buries her face in her hands and just, covers her eyes and breathes for a couple of minutes, trying to recover.
As Frem tries to regain herself, Traven, you see that same Klingon in the highly worn fur jacket with armor over it, and still trying to sharpen his somewhat blunted and dulled blade, or one without any sign of polish or shimmer.
There's nothing I can do for him here, is there?
Remains to be seen, lads. What will carry over here? Yeah. I care not either way. Your challenge here is done.
What? Wait. What? You did it?
Yeah.
It was weird. It was an aspect of my captain.
Really?
And there was a big cat.
That
Is
was
that-
an aspect of my captain's pet.
Oh dear. Your captain keeps giant cats?
Normal sized cat. He was also way bigger than he actually is.
Depends on if you consider Woe a pet or is the captain Woe's pet.
Shut up.
Oh dear boy, we must see if we can get everything together before this final challenge, but I must ask if there's anything else terrifying, or, well, if there are other things here that might be drawn out from some aspect to some exaggerated, challenging entity like this, maybe let us know now.
Well, I hate to be honest, but if it's taking the aspect of the crew, I can honestly tell you there is not one that I look forward to fighting or being near if they are just becoming bigger and scarier.
On that somber note, the hosts look amongst themselves,
To
seeking
be continued.
seeking to regain their resolve. But that, as they go into the final challenge, will come next time. So, for everybody that joined us here in the archive, this is where we are leaving you now. We will catch you again later. For anyone that ever wants to join us live, we air this show 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday nights. So feel free, if you've caught up to this point, to join us then. And you can follow us here on YouTube, or follow the link in the description of the video below to follow us on Twitch as well. However you like to support the channel, we always appreciate it. But yeah, feel free to stop in, ask some questions, generally say hello to us, or drop your thoughts here in the comments below. In any case, we hope that you have a good rest of your evening. Take care.